Welcome everyone to class 71, Biblical Foundation Genesis, the Book of Beginnings. So we are so blessed. We are just finishing up really a review at the very end of Genesis chapter 15, and we're diving right in to Genesis chapter 16 this class. So what a blessing for all of us. So at first, let's review last week's subject, which was the Abrahamic covenant. So Anandina, can you kindly read Genesis 15:18 in English?
In the same day, the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, Unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates.
Very good. I think I heard you get a little bit of a Carioca pronunciation of Egypty.
Egypt.
Adding a nice soft sound. No, but yeah, so it's Egypt. That
Egypt.
harsh consonant sound. Okay, very good. Let me try. Naquela mesmo dia fez o Senhor uma aliança com Abrão, dizendo: A tua descendência tenho dada esta terra, desde o rio de Egito até ao grande rio Eufrates. Okay. All right. So, Pedro, can you kindly read question A in English?
Is this the first mention of the covenant?
Okay, good question. Well pronounced. What do you say?
No,
Correct.
it isn't.
All right. And so do you remember where it was previously mentioned?
I don't know exactly where in the Bible.
Okay. Lucas, our Bible verse finder. The verse is the next verse. All right. And do we know what number that is by any chance? Genesis
12:7.
Yes. Very good. Okay. Well said, Lucas. Amazing. All right. So since you correctly identified that, will you please read Genesis 12:7 for us in English, Lucas?
And the Lord appeared unto Abram and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto the Lord, who appeared unto him.
Okay, one suggestion. It's a funny word, unto. You're pronouncing it a little bit like into, but it's unto. So unto the Lord. Oh, let me try this in okay. E apareceu o Senhor a Abrão e disse: A tua descendência darei esta terra. E edificou ali altar ao Senhor que lhe aparecerá. Okay, so there it is. It's the first mention. It's very briefly mentioned, but then here in Genesis 15:18, we get the full Monty, which is slang for like the whole thing.
A suggestion.
Yes, please.
Aparecera.
Aparecera. Thank you.
Past tense.
Emphasis
If you say
towards the...
aparecerá, is future.
Ah, okay. Aparecera. Thank you very much. All right. So, Anandino, thank you for that. And now can you kindly read question B in English?
Okay. Can you locate both the river of Egypt and the Euphrates?
Okay. I heard a little bit of that carioca come in. I know Viçosa is closer to Rio than to
I can help.
Belo Horizonte.
Sorry.
Not at all. Okay, so what do you think? I think everyone knows where the Euphrates is, right?
Right.
Where?
it is in Mesopotamia, like
Oh,
in the Iraq today.
yeah, exactly right. So you've got the old name and the new name. Very good. All right. Does anyone remember from last class that the River of Egypt is not the main one that we think of?
Yes, it's not the Nile.
Correct.
El Arish
Yes. Okay.
or
And so
Arish,
and
not
so
sure.
I don't think I think El Arish. So
El Arish.
I don't think it exists in a major way, but we believe that it went from more or less Gaza to Eilat. In Eilat is the
Okay.
Israeli port to the Red Sea, right at the border with the Sinai, which is now part of Egypt again. So, Pedro, can you kindly read question C?
Have Israel's borders ever extended to those rivers?
Okay, what do you think?
I remember from last class that never the borders of Israel can mm, go went through those rivers.
That's right.
It was almost of this territory, but not completely.
Exactly right. So we can say, let's be more hopeful. Instead of never, it's not yet. Not
Okay.
yet have gone because they're going there, but they haven't done it yet. All right, so Lucas, can you kindly read question D in English?
When did Israel come closest to full possession?
You're very well pronounced. All right, did anyone remember? I think we discussed this briefly last class. Any guesses?
During Solomon's reign.
Yes. Absolutely right, Anandina. Right? So David, I remember, gave the nation in very good condition to Solomon,
Yes.
and Solomon amassed an immense amount of wealth. He was receiving gifts from everyone, the Queen of Sheba, everyone, and Israel's borders were, we believe,
Yes, the
a large.
beginning of his reign was very successful.
Exactly right. Okay, so. Anandina, can you kindly read question E in English?
When then will the prophecy most likely be fulfilled?
Okay, we enjoy discussing biblical chronology. So it's good to think together, well, when is this prophecy going to come true? Any guesses?
Is it at the millennium?
Well, for certainly, I think during the millennium that they will reach the full borders. But when exactly do they get the full borders as promised in the Abrahamic covenant? Hint,
I don't know.
a little
When
before the millennium.
when Jesus comes?
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Mm,
And what we'll do is we'll look at the verses from which we can conclude that at that point there was no more question that Israel belonged on and owned all of the territory. So let's look at the next question and then some verses afterwards. So Pedro, can you kindly read question F in English?
okay. When specifically in the Bible's timeline?
Okay. So when do you think? So yes, during Jesus's second coming, we believe that the prophecy will be fulfilled. Do we have an idea when exactly? And as you can guess, I've added or I've placed several verses after question F. And if you look at those, you might go, okay. But then the question is, those verses, What are they describing? And so when specifically in the Bible's timeline are we looking at full possession?
Mm. I I don't know very well about this Bible chronology,
Well, then
so I don't know.
you're in this class for a good reason. All right, we
Yeah.
want to continue discussing biblical chronology. But now look at that in the next verse. It sounds like there's a war going on. When in Jesus' second coming is there a war?
Last class, you have told us about the Armageddon War.
Absolutely right. Okay, so that's absolutely correct. So soon after, really part of Jesus' second coming is the Battle of Armageddon. And so let's go and take a look at these verses, and then perhaps Lucas will tell us which verses they are, which chapter and verse it is. So the mystery chapter and verse of Revelation, the first one, can you please read that in English, Lucas?
And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army.
Excellent. All right, Lucas, do you remember what the chapter and verse is?
No,
Okay, let's see. Anyone else?
Chapter 19, verse 19.
Correct. Absolutely right. 1919. And just to make sure we're all on the same page, who's sitting on the horse?
Is Jesus Christ.
Absolutely right. Okay. So let's go to the next one. And so Anandina, can you kindly read the next mystery verse from Revelation in English?
And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the foes were filled with the flesh.
Wow. Okay. And you know what?
Foe, is that fourth? Is it foes?
It's
The
foul.
pronunciation?
It's
Fowls.
fowls. Yeah, very good.
Foul. Okay.
And I forgot to read the Portuguese last time, so I'm going to read both of them. And
Okay.
anyone remember what verse this is?
Mm,
The second verse,
Yes,
19, 20,
1921.
21. 21.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to read both 19 and 21 in Portuguese. E vi a besta e os reis da terra e os seus exércitos reunidos para fazer guerra àquele que estava assentado sobre o cavalo e ao seu exército. E a besta foi presa, e com ela o falso profeta. Oops, is that it? No, desculpe. It's the next one. E os demais foram mortos, com a espada que saía da boca do que estava assentado sobre o cavalo, e todas as aves se fartaram das suas carnes. Wow.
I have a suggestion.
Please.
I think you say besta with an open sound, but it is besta, more closed.
Okay, besta. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't want to give the besta any more emphasis than sebesta. Okay. All right. So why do I pinpoint this here? Because remember the valley of Armageddon is actually it's a place called Megiddo, and it's north of Jerusalem. So if there's a large army stationed there, then that Jesus kills, oh, there they are. So if this battle takes place just north of Jerusalem, then when there's this huge army, Israel is not in its entire borders because it's been invaded. Okay, so the moment that that army is defeated, that's it. Okay, there's no more foreign devils, no more 200 million potential army of pagans on Israel, just their dead bodies. And so Israel has taken over all of its promised borders. So great. So we're going to continue and we're going to head on into chapter 16. Praise the Lord. So we're now going to study Abram's and Sarai's carnal plan for children. Does a carnal plan for children sound like a good kind of plan?
No.
No. Okay, particularly when you have God's plan already promised to you. That's kind of, well, we'll see. Let's take a look. So, Pedro, can you kindly read the next verse, which is Genesis 16, 1 to 2 in English?
Okay. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bare him no children, and she had a handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abram, Behold now, the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai.
Very good. That last verb is a hard one. It normally you separate, it would be hearkened, but in English it's hearkened. It's irregular.
Yes.
Okay, so it's pronounced hearken, as though there's no E at all, like it's hearkened.
Hearken.
Okay, so hey, look, it's all Sarai's fault, right? She didn't bear him any children. Wrong. Let me try this in Portuguese. E ouvi, vindo do templo. Oops, that's the wrong book. Right chapter, but wrong book. There we go. Ora, Sarai, mulher de Abrão, não lhe dava filhos, e ele tinha uma serva egípcia, cujo nome era Agar. E disse Sarai a Abrão: Eis que o Senhor me tem impedido de dar à luz. Toma, pois, a minha serva. Porventura terei filhos dela. E ouviu Abrão a voz de Sarai. Okay. Actually, I have a quick question. When was the last time that someone hearkened to the voice of their wife and it was not a good idea?
The last time. I am not remembering now.
And indeed, you think? In the Garden of Eden.
Oh,
Okay. I'm not saying a husband should never listen to his wife. That's not
no, can't
far
say
from
that.
it.
Can't say that.
Exactly.
The
That's not what the Bible is saying.
The husband has to hear the voice of his woman only in good times, only in good reasons.
Yes, but whose voice should he listen to first?
The voice of God.
Exactly right. Okay, so that's the lesson. Okay, it's not that he shouldn't listen to his wife, a good husband, but rather he has to listen to God and Jesus Christ first. Okay, so Lucas, can you kindly read question? And I think did I read that? Yes, I did. Can you read question 1, please, in English?
Was such an arrangement normal for the times?
Very well pronounced. What do you think? Wow, so it's like the wife says, "Take my maid, and she can give you a child." Was that a normal thing to do at the time?
I think it was.
Yes, absolutely right. It's definitely not a normal thing to do today. Okay.
Yeah.
In some countries,
Okay.
they still have this practice.
That's true. But
Yes,
is it biblical?
no,
No. Okay,
no
that would
way,
be called
no
adultery.
way.
Okay.
Yes.
So, excellent. So, Anandina, can you kindly read question 2?
Abram listened to the voice of Sarai instead of whose? Instead of God's.
Yes, we just answered that question. But
Yeah.
why? Okay, but why do I say when did God say? Well, let's take a look. Where's the next verse? So, Pedro, can you kindly read Genesis mystery chapter mystery verse?
And he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now toward heaven, and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be.
Very good. All right, does anyone know what verse, what chapter and verse that is?
I think it is the chapter 15.
Correct. And what verse?
The verse, I don't remember.
Verse 5.
Thank you, Lucas. Absolutely right. Okay, excellent. So, this is truly an inspired team of brothers who together answer every question.
Yeah,
We appreciate it.
excellent students.
Exactly right. Então, ou levou fora e disse: Olha agora para os céus e conta as estrelas, se as podes contar. E disse-lhe: Assim será a tua descendência. And so, Lucas, can you kindly read question 3? Is Lucas still there? Oh, he just
Yeah.
disappeared. So, Anadina, can you kindly read question 3 in English?
A child via Hagar would still be Abram's seed. So what's the matter?
Right? So we're seeing that in Genesis 15:5, he said, Your seed will essentially cover the entire earth, your descendants. So, in fact, Abraham having a child with Hagar, it's still his seed, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
I think the mother was also important.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And so, and I think that God will tell us shortly why it's important. So, here's a question for you. So let me go back to Pedro. Can you please read question 4?
What else did Abram neglect to do?
Okay. So what do you think? So he wasn't listening so very well to the voice of God. Is there something else that he neglected to do?
Maybe have said no to this idea.
Okay, that's true. But what could he have done prior to this that might have saved him from the error?
Mm,
What Pedro would you do if your wife said, Pedro, let me give you a maid. And if you had any doubts, what would you do?
I have no idea.
And Indina? And we've actually discussed this
He
before.
could have prayed
Yes,
before
thank
giving
you.
the answer.
Thank you. Yes.
Before saying yes, okay.
Okay, and remember, and I don't see this anywhere in any commentary, so this is
Yes,
something we've developed together. Abram was excellent at building altars,
yes, it was.
but again and again, he does not pray at important moments.
I understood now.
That's
Okay, when he
true. That's true.
when he doesn't when he makes an error,
And
and so
it may look like may have looked like a good idea, solution for the problems because they were old
yeah, yeah.
and
But still, if there was any question, well, God said he would do this, and I understood him to mean that I would have a child with my wife, Sarai. Now Sarai
yeah.
is saying she tells me that because God has closed off the possibility of her having
Mm.
children. Well, wait a second. How does she know that? Okay, so maybe Abram would go, okay, well, maybe I should pray to God and see what if I get an answer.
Yes, a little bit more patience.
Yep. Although remember that I think they waited like years and years. So I understand their impatience. I would be impatient too, but
He
okay.
had
Yes.
tried so
So
many times.
yeah, way to go. Okay, so Anandina, can you kindly read Genesis 16:3 in English?
And Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, to Egypt, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife.
Ok, let me try that in Portuguese. Assim tomou Sarai, mulher de Abrão, a Agar egípcia, sua serva, e deu-a por mulher a Abrão, seu marido, ao fim de 10 anos que Abrão habitará na terra de Canaã. So there it is. It sounds like they waited 10 years.
Yeah.
All right, we're not exactly sure when God made the promise in 15:5. Pedro, you have a suggestion?
Yeah. You say the verb in the future, habitará, but it is
Yeah.
habitará.
Habitada. Thank you. Much appreciated. You see, I'm I'm uh uh I'm wanting the future of Jesus come quickly. The very last prayer in the Bible to come. So I'm future minded today. Thank you. All right, so Pedro, can you kindly read question 5?
Is polygamy okay?
All right, it's polygamy.
Polygamy okay?
Thank you.
Polygamy.
Okay, because that's what this
I,
obviously is. Like he already has one wife, and now he's going to get a second one.
what is polygamy?
A good question. So, what do you think? So, poly, what does poly likely mean compared to uni?
It's like many.
Exactly right. And so, I don't know what the root of gamy is, but think of it as wife. Okay, so it's more than one wife.
Okay.
So, for instance, the Mormons here in the United States for a long time, because of Joseph Smith, isn't that right? The founder, they believed in and practiced polygamy.
Not today?
No, they ended that practice a while back.
Oh,
They they realized it was unbiblical and they were being persecuted actually for it. So okay. So Anandina, can you kindly read question 6 in English?
what do you think to be his wife means specifically?
Okay, so we're looking at verse 3, and all it says is gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. So what do we think to be his wife means?
It's like to possess. like this,
Sorry, what?
to possess,
Yes. Yep, that's a good way to put it. And thank you, because it's good to use biblical language in sensitive areas. So to possess is one way, to have conjugal relations is another way. Okay. And so even though Lucas isn't here, it's good that we're using nice words, okay, for something that has a lot of dirty words in the world for it. So, excellent. So, Pedro, can you go ahead and read Genesis chapter 16, verse 4 in English?
and he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes.
Okay, and that's despised.
Despised.
Despised. Wow, that's a tough word. And so let me try that in Portuguese. E ele possuiu a Agar, e ela concebeu. E vendo ela que conceberá, foi sua senhora desprezada aos seus olhos.
It's concebera.
Concedera.
Concebera.
Concebera. Did I
Yes.
go conceberá? All right, again?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm future-minded. Thank you. Okay, so Anandina, can you kindly read question 7 in English?
What does mistress mean in this context? And why did Hagar despise her?
Okay, so because mistress in English actually has a couple of different meanings, and they can be actually opposite meanings. So Pedro, any idea what we're getting at here? And it's always good to remember every word in the Bible is important and inspired. So we want to pay attention to it, and we don't want to misinterpret. So this is one of those verses where we're not sure what the antecedent is of her, because we're talking about two different women. So what do you think, Pedro? Any idea?
In this case, I understand like the lady. Is it correct?
Sorry?
Lady. This
Lady.
word.
Yes, absolutely right. Think of it this way in English. There's master of the house and there's mistress of the house.
And in this case, the owner of Hagar.
True. But mistress doesn't, what? She's the mistress of the house, so yes, she's a part owner of the house. But yeah, that's possible. But when I hear mistress, I don't think of owner, or employer. But it's easiest in English to think master and mistress. Because what's the secondary meaning of mistress, which is not correct in this verse?
Prostitute.
Well, yeah, a mistress is usually a lover.
A lover.
Okay, so outside of a marriage relation. And look, Lucas is back. Welcome back, Lucas. And just in time, we want Lucas, can our famous Bible verse reader, can you kindly read Genesis 16:5 in English?
And Sarai said unto Abram, my wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid into thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judge between me and thee.
Very well pronounced. There's that verb, she had conceived. So the E is more open, conceived. So let me try the Portuguese because it'll help define some words. Então, disse Sarai a Abrão: meu agravo seja sobre ti, minha serva pus eu em teu regaço. Vendo ela agora que concebeu, sou menosprezada aos seus olhos. O Senhor julgue entre mim e ti. Well, that's Sarai is saying a lot there. So let's go and look at the next line. So Anandina, can you kindly read question 8 in English?
What is Sarai doing here?
Okay, what do you think?
She's blaming Abram, isn't it?
Well, I'm not sure. I understand how you would say, because it's my wrong be upon thee.
This is what I interpret.
Yeah. But is she passing the buck? Which is
What is that? Pass the
English
buck.
slang, pass the buck is like, no,
It's
no, it
so-
wasn't my fault. It's your fault.
Well, I think so.
But
I'm not sure.
she's saying my wrong be upon thee. She said my wrong, not your wrong. She said my wrong. Sarai is admitting something. So it sounds to me more like she's confessing. All right, with some regret. All right. So she said, my wrong be upon thee. And then she describes her error. I have given my maid into thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, that is Agar, I was despised in her eyes. So the Lord judge between me and thee. Now,
Oh,
now that last part is a little more complicated, but it's saying we did something terribly wrong. And guess whose idea it was? Mine. So she's confessing and she's repenting. Okay, I think she's confessing and repenting.
yes, I had understood the opposite.
Okay, and here's the thing. She thinks things are so bad that one of them is going to have to be punished by God.
Oh,
Okay, so it's like the Lord judged between me and thee. It's not like one was more wrong than the other, but rather things are so bad what she just did that God is going to have to exact
yeah,
punishment. Okay,
the same.
so let's go ahead and we're going to mix things up just so we can get the famous Bible verse reader to give us the last verse, and then we'll come back to Pedro. So Lucas, can you kindly read Genesis 16 verse 6 in English?
But Abram said unto Sarai, behold, thy maid is in thy hands. Do to her as it pleaseth thee. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face.
Very good, well pronounced. E disse Abrão a Sarai: eis que tua serva está na tua mão. Faz-lhe o que é bom e aos teus olhos. E afligiu a Sarai, e ela fugiu de sua face. So remember, the Bible is not simple. It says a lot with few words. So let's think together. Question 9. So Pedro, can you read question 9, please, in English? Oops, they froze.
Sarai suggests the Lord judge different law.
Okay, we heard some of you, but the connection's not very good. So, Ann and Dina, can you kindly read that verse to make sure? Oh, they're back. Pedro, can you read that again? We didn't hear you. Oh, they're
Oh,
frozen again.
I
So,
think that it froze again.
yeah, so go ahead, Ann and Dina, so that people watching the video can hear the whole thing.
Okay, 16:6
Yes,
is the
please.
last one. But Abram said unto Sarai, Behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as it pleaseth thee. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face.
Okay. Oh, but wait a second.
We had already
We already read that. Lucas read that.
we
Sorry.
had already
It's
read
question
that.
9. Yeah, he's frozen again. So can you
Oh,
read question 9?
they're back. Can you read question
Well,
9?
they keep on freezing. So go ahead and
Yeah, okay. Sarai suggests the Lord judge between me and thee, but Abram reacts differently. How?
okay. How? So welcome back, Pedro and Lucas. We had Enandina read the verse as well to make sure the audience can hear the whole question. So,
Okay.
Sarai said, the Lord judge between me and thee. But did Abraham say, your fault, my fault? No.
No.
So what did he do instead?
He said to Sarai to punish Hagar like it.
Yeah. Well, but he doesn't say directly to punish her, but rather do to
He
her as it pleaseth
he
thee.
gave permission to her.
Exactly. Exactly. So he's saying, all right, you've just repented and confessed. So he said, you've just repented and confessed, and this is a problem. So, okay. So why don't you do what you think best? Okay, so he's accepting her repentance, and he's saying, all right, so you helped create this problem, do what you think best to resolve it. And we'll see. That might not be all of this is happening in God's will, but maybe Sarai is a little tough. She says, the verse says, and when Sarai dealt hardly with her, all right, she was tough.
She
Okay,
was
so
jealous.
yes. So here we are. Remember, we have found Abram is an incredible patriarch in the Bible, and yet, like David, who was also another patriarch, we see that he's also human, and he makes one error after another. But God uses those as teaching lessons. And so let's come back next class to see where God is taking them after this error. So very good. Here we are. We're just on time. So any questions or comments in English?
I have a question.
Please.
When you said about the Battle of Armageddon, the connection had failed a little. Where is Armageddon today?
Okay, very good. It's Armageddon in English, Armageddon, and it's north of Jerusalem in a valley also called Megiddo. So you might have heard of Megiddo. And
Yes.
so that's why I was saying that Israel was not in possession of her entire territory. If there's an army of what sounds like 200 million, foreign invaders is just north of Jerusalem, then no, Israel is not in control of or in possession of its entire promised land. But when that army is decimated by just one word from Jesus Christ, then all foreign invaders are gone, are dead, and Israel fills her borders peacefully for eternity. So
Okay.
good. Any other questions in English?
I have no more.
Okay. Thank you all for watching.